It was consistent yesterday, and I do hope it is consistent today, or more like constant mega. So leverage the sun. For those of you who have solar panels to generate power, please be grateful for this sun. You don't know what the Lord has done for you, because in some parts of Port Harcourt, like my part of Port Harcourt, I have not seen electricity. In fact, the last time I saw electricity was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. The electricity I generated from fuel and generator. Anyway, that's on a lighter note. How's your mind? How's your body? And how is your soul? Have you started perceiving Christmas? Because it's next month, so it's tomorrow, December. Like this December, that's just tomorrow. So make plans, make preparations. I trust it will be a Merry Christmas for you regardless. Having said that, my name is Dennis Wall, one and only of Nigeria Info FM. And today, competence versus loyalty at the workplace is our conversation. You do business, you are in charge of what's it called now, human resources at your organization. At some point in time, it becomes difficult to choose, especially when there's a need to downsize, there's a need to recruit, there's a need to appraise your staff members. Now, what is competence? The ability to do something successfully and efficiently. You know, you're capable, you're proficient, you are competent. So yes, a lot of businesses will look for competent staff members. Can this person do the job? Is this person well equipped? Is this person able? Is this person capable of carrying out the task at hand? Then you are labeled a competent staff member. When it comes to, accounting, you are a very competent accountant. Anything accounting, they should just leave it to you and go to sleep. You will certainly handle it. Then on the other hand, there is loyalty. It's not just that they say, I got loyal, boss, I loyal, I'm loyal to your government, sir. I'm loyal, I'm very loyal. If you see me, Baba, I loyal, sure for the Baba. It's not that type of. And that is loyalty in another sense, but then again, it's showing firm and constant support and allegiance, in this case, to the organization. Giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to an institution. I think one of these days I had a conversation about loyalty, and I remembered vividly leaving the studio that day, an accomplished presenter. And this is because some of you called in or sent in messages stating how clearly you were loyal to the Nigeria Info FM brand. And it was motivation for us to do more to ensure that we sustain your loyalty. Now, there was an example I gave that day about two examples. There was a time when there was fuel scarcity, and some filling stations were not open at the time because they did not have products to dispense. And what that simply meant was that staff members did not need to show up at work, especially the fuel attendants, right? And not showing up at work will mean probably not being paid, except, of course, you have a very wonderful Oga who would say, it's not your fault that we don't have products to sell, so I'm still going to pay you your salaries regardless. Now, it was easy within that period for the staff members to go and look for other jobs, because some didn't open for like a month, some for like 2 months or 3 months. Now, one thing I noticed that when there was fuel supply to a degree, I still saw some of these staff members return to their duty post. I was expecting new faces. Now, something in me asks, is this the level of loyalty? Knowing fully well that they probably were not receiving salary, But then again, they understood with the organization that the reason they were not showing up at work and they were not being paid was because there was no fuel, right? And at that point in time, they were just stayed put. I wonder how they were surviving. Would that time there just being loyal to the filling station brand? Or maybe they didn't even find something else to do. That was why they stayed put. Then I also gave the example of a shop that caught fire. Just at room making here. An electronic shop, by the way. That fire incident burnt many things, including the building, and affected the next building or so. It means that for some time, staff members will not need to show up at work. Now, if the company had insurance, maybe insurance will cover for the damages and they'll be able to start again. But it was enough reason for some people to say, this one if I don't burn my company, make I can't defend my way. Let me burn them now. I don't know how long this would last. So there are times when the organization will go through certain stages. Some organizations have experienced bankruptcy. Some organizations have experienced low sales turnover. Some organizations, low patronage, yes. And at that point in time, maybe they may need to downsize, all right? Maybe they may need to say, you know what, go home. We'll call you back when things are back to normal. You see, at this point in time, if we keep you, we can't pay you. So how about you go home, and when things are better, we'll call you to resume work. And then you just find that some staff members will choose to stay back. Yes. They will choose to show constant support. They will choose to say, Oga, don't worry, I go stay. I go there work. I will be here. Huh? They are accusing the organization of fraud. Don't worry. They say our Oga do like this. He do like that. He go UK. He no do like this. He no get flight this thing. Don't worry. We will be here. And they stay put. They are showing their support. It's not just at the workspace. Away from the workspace, there are conversations or arguments and counter-arguments on the faith of the organization, and they are still supporting. They are still like, we are for you. Don't worry. You got us. You got us. And this kind of people sort of gives the employer strength. But then, at some point, we may have to evaluate ourselves as staff members. Are we loyal employees or competent employees? Or is there a possibility of having a mix of both? Now, the experts say that both loyal and competent employees can be valuable to a team. But the best choice will depend on the situation. The loyal employees are said to be more productive, engaged, and committed to the company's success. They can also contribute to a positive work culture, enhance collaboration, and reduce turnover. Loyal employees are more likely to invest in their work, innovate, and go the extra mile, while competent employees can work more efficiently and effectively, producing better results. They can also identify and eliminate hazards in their surroundings. Competent employees are less likely to leave their job and are more willing to work hard. But then again, they are the shortfalls, or what would I call them now? It is said that some employers use or tend to use the loyal employees, knowing fully well that they have already come to a point where they understand that this is where this person's loyalty lies. This person will be here regardless. So the possibility of even withholding salaries when there is that need to pay, or they can pay. But the competent ones will do the work. Will bring in the turnovers. But then, you can't hold on to a competent staff for too long. The staff that knows his or her value would leave where the competence is far more appreciated. Now, let me throw this question to you. Who should employers rather have on their team between a loyal staff and a competent staff? Think about it. Any team at all. Work regarded. Workplace, business place, workspace. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. We have the WhatsApp and Telegram number. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809 0306416. 0809 0306416. On X, we're at Nigeria Info page, and our Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. A call screener is in standby. Take your calls first before passing you on to me in the studio. So when you do call, the first voice you would hear will not be my voice, but of course that of the call screen. Now, if you're unable to get through to us via the phone lines, do well to send a message, and in course of the conversation, I would gladly read your messages. Philip is calling from Owerri. Hi, Philip. How are you doing today, and how's Owerri?
I'm very good, thank you.
Talk to me, Philip.
Yeah. So, my own contribution is I prefer competent worker to beat my company than a loyal worker.
Tell me why.
Because, okay, let me explain why. Loyalty to me is like relative. It means some of it is like I said it. But a competent worker knows what he's doing for you, knows how to handle your customers, knows how to make your business good. When you discover you're not taking care of him really well, he will move to a better place where he will be appreciated. So it is not less for you, the company owner, to identify your competent workers and appreciate them for your business to grow. Because for me, loyalty in Nigeria is like I said. Your business is dying, they are just there, or guy, come up, saying it, I'm present. But it's not doing anything for you. That is my take.
Okay. A competent staff member he prefers, because loyalty in Nigeria is like eye service. I have some messages, by the way, on Facebook for those who are watching live on Facebook, and of course from the pre-sale on Facebook. So Joetex Saro Kirika says, you might be loyal and not competent. You can also be competent and not loyal. Toby Blackode says, loyalty does not translate to a market value. Business is about naira and kobo. In a business world of constant competition, turning prospects to a satisfied client, competence is the key factor. Competency is what brings in the result to the employer. A loyal employee is too emotionally attached to stay objective, and objectives drives the will to a successful business growth. For me, I will pick a competent employee over loyalty as long as my business is concerned. Wellington Toby sent that in. You have 10 competent workers, and none of them are loyal. What happens when the business encounters a situation? Do you expect all the competent staff members to stay? Think about it. David from Rumulumini. Hi, David. How are you doing?
Hello. Yes, good afternoon. I'm fine.
Welcome.
I'm sure I'm on to Nigeria Info.
Oh, yes, this is Nigeria Info. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. As it has to do with the point you have on ground, it's both point comparing between a competent worker and a loyal worker. I think, in my view, a competent staff worker is far better than a loyal employee, in the sense that a competent worker knows what to do without supervision. But a loyal worker But a competent worker resumes and, immediately takes up his task and is good as that.
Well, loyalty to Oga and loyalty to the business are two different things. For instance, this organization, I make boast to say that if not a majority of the workforce that joined from a particular year up until date have never for once seen our Oga Pata Pata. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. We know who he is. We may have seen his picture somewhere. We may have seen details of this same person. So if they ask you who owns your company now, it is so and so person. But we have not met face to face to interact. And that is how some businesses are. For some banks that have branches stationed in several places, it's even the same thing in some ministries where you say this is a general overseer. But how many church members have actually seen and interfaced with the general overseer? It's the same thing with some organizations. So for a vast majority of people, loyalty may not be to the Oga, as it were, but to the brand. The Nigeria Info brand, the Cool FM brand, the Wazobia brand, the whatever brand, the bread brand, whatever brand you may possibly think of. So how then does that loyalty translate and help when I don't know this person face to face or something? This person cannot see me coming to greet him every day, say I'm loyal, sir, I'm loyal, sir.
Okay. Yes. How it is this? The issue may not directly be the Oga that is referring to the owner of the organization.
Okay.
But in every organization, you do know that we have heads, subheads.
Okay.
Coordinates.
Coordinates, okay.
Them, the supervisor, manager, general manager, and all of these level of staff workers, which probably they are ahead of you, far ahead of you in the organization and all that. So when you resume, your loyalty goes to that Oga. In most cases, this is how they stay loyalty. Just like in this, as a supervisor, they will make sure that they come to greet you. Instead of resuming duty, like I work in a place, I work in a place, so I can take instance to myself, even if I've given my name and all that. I think it doesn't mean. But when I resume my place of work, today I'm on night duty. When I resume my place of work, the first thing I do is to make sure I look at what I ought to put in place. And then I ensure that I do justice to that. But there are some of my colleagues who will want to come and start from one office to another office. Because how plenty of guys, it's a chain of command.
Okay. So that's loyalty to the Oga. Have you seen someone loyal to a brand? Have you seen a staff member loyal to a brand? There's the way they behave. I don't know. I don't think David gets me. Whenever matters are raised about the brand and they are there, best believe that they will defend the brand. They will show support. They will tell people about the brand. They will do evangelism for the brand. They will do marketing, PR, and all that and all that. Another point in time, nobody cares. I mean, today I came to work. I'm not sure I've seen my direct boss, my line manager. Yeah, I saw him. I think he was with someone. And I've not said hello to him. Sometimes in an entire week, I may not see him. We may not have to interface face to face. I may not greet him. But will I label myself as a competent staff member or a loyal staff member? At what point does the two let me call them virtues, come to play? There is competency. You know the work. When there's time to do something, give it to her, give it to him, give it to this person. Oh, we need to go do like this, do like this. But if there is something bad that happens, if calamity comes, would you rely still on the competent staff, or not the one that comes to greet you every morning, but the one that shows support, solidarity for the organization. Now, I have some messages from live streaming. Someone says watching from Enugu State, as that's also Francis. Bani Idoko says leaders prefer to retain loyal employees because they can trust them better and the operating style matches. It works well in most cases in speedy execution. The challenge is when loyalty is preferred at the cost of competence. Competence is crucial for the success and growth of an organization. Ogwojini Justice says emphasis should be placed on competency. Okwandu Obina says nowadays, you know what, let me take this call from Mario from Okwajo first. Hi Mario, how you doing? Talk to me.
Hello, good afternoon, Najanfo.
Good afternoon, Mario.
Yes, I just want to chip in something in the conversation.
By all means.
In the actual sense of it, competence is supposed to come with loyalty. I want to give an instance. Let's assume a worker that is very competent and is a shift worker. And when he's supposed to close, his reliever is not around to come and relieve him. Yes, he's a competent worker, but he needs to be loyal for him to, on a normal thing, he's supposed to continue on that shift. Even though he's supposed to close, but his reliever is not around. He's supposed to continue on that shift, considering that the reliever is not there and is not the fault of the company. But you see some people that is competent, but you say, I've closed, I'm going. You abandon the job and go. If you're a supervisor, will you work with that kind of competent worker? So what makes a worker really competent? Loyalty has to come with it.
Loyalty has to come with competence. It's not about knowing the job. It's not about knowing what to do, and you have to be loyal to the brand, just like you said. You have to be loyal to the company. There are times the company suffers downtime. Like in holidays now, we are going to holidays. Yeah, in the festive period. You see that some companies, you will need to put in extra shift. So you need this kind of workers to be on board for you, so that when you don't have to look like you don't know what you're doing as a leader or as a shift supervisor. So for me, competency needs to come with loyalty. Okay, thank you. Let me give you a personal example. As far back as the year 2012, 2013, I used to work with a construction firm, a new one, not the regulars you hear of. They were new. A vast majority of the workforce, architects and those on field that actually do the construction work, Ganga, were from Benin Republic. And, of course, competence came to play. These people, for some reason, were very good with constructions and buildings. And the CEO himself was from Benin Republic. So when it was time to recruit those people that would be on field, he had to go back home and source for these persons. Now, at some point, is it that we didn't have those kind of competent people in Nigeria? Was it because they spoke? I think the official language of Benin Republic is French, right? Or was it the fact that they spoke the same language, and speaking the same language could help them do the work better, or the possibility that they would not let the business fail, seeing that it was their person that owned the company. Now let's look at this now. For those of us at the office, what business do I have going to carry sand and chippings and all of that? My work was administrative, purely administrative. So there were those at the office doing administrative work, the accountant, the manager, the secretary, a lawyer, and all of that. So we were at the office. And between when the company started and maybe a year plus ago, I could count how many of us were the first people to be recruited. Trust me. I could count how many of us started that organization that remained. And it was not because we're not competent. No. I sat there, and before you knew it, secretary resigned. The lawyer resigned. Company lawyer resigned. Then before you knew it, accountant resigned. I mean, I was seeing people dropping resignation letters. And this was barely a year. It wasn't up to a year. Something happened, one slight something, somebody got angry, somebody brought his woman as MD, some people didn't want to have it, some people did not know whether they were loyal to Oga Kpata or the business. Or maybe it was because, oh, this man is from Benin Republic, he's not Nigerian or something. But then again, not all of us that started, a vast majority of us left. I left for a totally different reason, and it was not hinged on competence or loyalty. I had to push for something more. You know, I was going to advanced education and all of that, so I had to resign because I didn't think I could, at that time, marry, work, and school. So I had to resign. But you see those people from Benin, he did something that could have made them leave. Something quite personal, not something I want to share on radio, but they stayed put. Maybe because they were from the same place. I'm not even sure a lot of them remember the name of the company. I'm being honest with you. From the few times we've interacted, you know, with the little English they could speak, I'm not sure they remember. When salary has to be paid, they get paid. For those of them on the field, some of them get paid weekly, some of them get paid twice a week. And then there were the architects that were doing the main job, and those ones were paid monthly. And then contracts were just coming here and there and all of that. But some of them stayed. And then I just understood something. If this business belonged to a Nigerian, would those of us that left, would we leave? Were we loyal to the man, the brain behind the business? Or were we loyal to the business? And I must say, a vast majority of them were competent. Yes, a vast majority of them. I'm talking about people that were professionals. And just maybe if they had stayed put, they would be celebrating... this is 2024. They'll probably be celebrating 12, 13 years with the organization. So most times when I see organizations celebrating anniversary, and I see somebody that had been at that organization from the very beginning, this organization is 20 years, 30 years. I mean, Nigeria Info is how many years in Port Harcourt? Worldwide, we're about 12 years or thereabout now. And you see that there's someone who has been here from the very beginning. That person being there, was it the person's competency or was it loyalty at play? Also, like the last caller said, your competence has to come with loyalty at some point. If not, forget about it. You cannot say you are competent and then you're not loyal. Again, WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. Competence versus loyalty at the workplace. Who should employers rather have on their team? Between a loyal staff and a competent staff. 0817 923 0002. Again, 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003. Remember, call screeners and standby. Take your calls first before passing on to me in the studio. I have Kelvin on Facebook. A loyal staff may be competent but respect people he works with, but a competent staff may feel he knows too much. Nigeria Info. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Constance.
It's Denise, not Constance. Welcome.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Patrick.
You're welcome.
Yes, according to your question, a competent staff is better than a loyal staff. My reason being that what the idea is to deliver. If a competent staff, you will deliver, and that is why you are there to deliver on that job. A loyal staff, you are not competent. How will you deliver? All we need is someone that will deliver. If you are competent, you will give the company what they need. So that is my contribution. I regard the competent staff than a loyal staff, because that loyal staff will not bring that thing. What we need is the person that will deliver.
The person that will indeed deliver. Okwando Obina says, nowadays, loyalty is being put ahead of competence in the office, not minding the know-how of the person. I think that for the progress, success, and growth of an organization, competence should be the way to go. But you have competence, and you discover that every business has different faces. They not tell the business, oh, this person left. Oh, why did the person leave? Tomorrow you go again, you see a new face. I know one business like that, Sha. Every day I go, I go to patronize. I see different faces. And sometimes I wonder what is happening. Why am I seeing different faces? And maybe it's on grounds of competence. And it's not a wrong thing. But then again, what does it tell on the overall nature of the business and the structure and the workings, that every time you visit a business, you have to encounter different people? Why are these people not steadfast? Bright Obari says it's only in few settings that competence overrides loyalty. Ifeanyi Chukwu Kingsley says, in my current workplace, competence is not really a thing I can boast of, but my loyalty to my boss is not in doubt. So you're loyal to your boss. Israel Ime Noah says, for me, loyalty is about being productive, and there's no way a person will be productive if he or she is not competent in a specialty. So competence gives birth to productivity, and productivity is loyalty. I love to see and get good results and returns. Nigerian for good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's Moses from Sagoma.
Moses from Sabama, welcome.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I want to ask you a question. In politics, I don't think there's any politician that will say is loyal. But I believe 99% of them are, I would say they are...
What's happening to the network? What's going on? Sorry about that. Let's see if this one goes through. Nigerian phone, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Turn off your radio set, please.
Okay, better now.
Have you turned off your radio set?
Can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
All right, George is my name.
George, you're welcome.
Okay, quite an interesting subject matter. My take is this. Ideally, loyalty and competence should be two sides of a coin in a work environment. The problem with our environment is this. Most times we would rather prefer loyalty than competence. At least most organizations that I've been in and some that I've worked in, at some point you think it is loyalty they want. When the business begins to nosedive, you think they are beginning to look out for competence. I started out working on the side of loyalty. And what was the reason? Why? Because I wanted to get to know my onions at the job. I wanted to get better. So at that point, I was trying to build muscle to know what was required of me at the workplace. And I was ready to give my all to my employee, to my employer then. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But the thing with competence is this. When you begin to build competence, you begin to become more relevant. You begin to get value. You begin to add value not just to the organization, but to yourself. Now, once you become competent and good at what you do, you realize that your loyalty to a given employer does not serve your best interest in the long run. Because especially with Nigerian employers, they don't think long term. They don't think succession planning. Once you become competent, you see that what keeps you at the workplace is the value you bring. That is how they begin to brand you. That is how they begin to look at your pay. That is how they begin to look at the resources and the good things that come to you by virtue of the office you occupy or the responsibilities that are given to you. So the moment you begin to build more, you realize that loyalty does not pay you in the long run, because most Nigerian employers do not appreciate loyalty the way it should be, thinking long term. They are more concerned about use people, work them to the bone, dump them, get someone else possibly who is not demanding, who doesn't know what, the value that is placed alongside the responsibility that he or she is going to bring to the workplace. But once you begin to know what you have, what it is you bring to the workplace, I can tell you, you can hardly remain loyal to any given organization. Most brands that you and I see, whether within the country or abroad, big brands, just like, what is it now, Guinness. I mean, one of their logo is it Guinness? I want to believe Guinness, I think. They say black is made of more. But I'm not talking of black now. I'm talking of a human being in this instance. When you realize that you are made of more, you hardly want to stay at the place, because your loyalty at some point begins to bring in some level of mediocrity. Do you understand?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Final message is from Simply Goodness from Malakaya. When you are a competent staff, loyalty comes naturally. So an organization should always go for competence. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. It's something all of us will have to think about. Business owners, recruiters, human resources, and of course, you as a staff member. Evaluate yourself, the value that you bring to the table. My name is Denise Waller. Trending Stories comes up next, and thereafter, live appearance, recorded program. The final hour, of course, will be Family Matters with the O series. The conversation does not end here. It continues on X at Nigeria Info page, and Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Go there and drop your thoughts as well. Stay tuned.